So, yesterday I did a little Facebook story on Michelangelo. One of his greatest accomplishments was the Sistine Chapel, the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. It was one of the most beautiful works of art, um, one of his greatest accomplishments. Well, in this story, I was, you know, thinking about what if Michelangelo in any one of his paintings or any one of his sculptures had handed off his paintbrushes or his palette to friends or family or teachers or strangers. What if he had handed his brush off? What if he had handed off his chisel to somebody that just walked through the door and was admiring one of his sculptures? What if he just handed his chisel and hammer off to them and said, "Here, you finish it"? I have a funny feeling that we wouldn't know the name Michelangelo had he done that, because he knew exactly, he saw in his head what he wanted to do. He knew exactly the direction he wanted to go with every single one of his sculptures, with every single one of his paintings. He knew exactly the direction he wanted to go. Sometimes, while we are in charge of the masterpiece of our lives, and we're painting this masterpiece, and sometimes we know which way we want to go. We know exactly, we see it in our head. We know which way we want to go. But we all too often hand off those brushes that are painting our masterpiece. We all too often hand off that chisel and that hammer that we are creating our sculptures with. We hand our brushes off to teachers. Our parents, of course, carry those brushes for a little while and start to shape the masterpiece of our lives. But we hand it off to coworkers, hand them off to friends, hand them off to family, hand them off to significant others. And sometimes we forget to take it back. Sometimes we allow other people to paint our painting, to paint our lives. Sometimes we allow other people to sculpt our lives. And sometimes we get lost in the painting. Sometimes we get lost in the sculptor. And unfortunately, our name gets lost because we have given up our masterpiece to somebody else. And sometimes we have smudges, sometimes we have streaks, sometimes you can't even tell what the picture is anymore. You don't even know what the masterpiece is. It's completely blotched over. If you want to have your own masterpiece, you have to take the brushes back. You have to be the one that brings that brush across every stroke. You have to be the one that paints the sunshine. You have to be the one to paint the flowers. You have to be the one to paint the trees and the animals and the birds, the butterflies. You have to be the one to paint the beauty back into your life. You have to be the one to finish your masterpiece. You got to take your brushes back. If you see in your head how you want your life to be, if you want your life to be full of laughter, you have to find the brush that creates that laughter. You have to take it back. If you want your life to be full of joy, if you want smiles, if you want your life to be full of dance, if you want your life to be full of singing, you have to take every single one of those paintbrushes back and create that life. As always, the power of choice is in your hands. The power of choice is up to you. The mindset is up to you. Taking back those paintbrushes is up to you. It's up to me. It's up to you. What is your masterpiece going to look like at the end of the day? At the end of this year? At the end of next year? What is your masterpiece going to look like? That is completely and totally up to you. Is it going to be just finger paintings of a small child that don't really look like they come together for anything? Or are they going to be brush strokes of beauty? That's up to you. That's up to me. I hope that you will take those brushes back and that you will create your own masterpiece. Much love, my friends.